Liverpool rocked by shock twists on and off the pitch. Don't miss a second. Subscribe now for instant Reds updates, exclusives, and breaking alerts.
News headline: the 11 players who left Liverpool last summer and how they're faring with next step. News and details. Much has been made of the fortunes of the players Liverpool signed in their summer spending spree, but it was also a major transfer window for players leaving the club. Liverpool spent more than ever before in the summer transfer window on the back of winning the Premier League, breaking their transfer record twice to sign Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen and Alexander Isak from Newcastle United, and that wasn't all. To counterbalance the big spend, Liverpool agreed to let several players leave, either on permanent transfers or loan deals. But now, midway through the 2025-26 season, how have those players been faring at their new clubs? Only including players with 10 or more competitive appearances for Liverpool to their name, Team Talk takes a look at how each have been doing since their exits. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Liverpool managed to avoid the losses of Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk by securing them to new contracts, but one player they couldn't prevent running his deal down was Alexander-Arnold. It was a bitter blow, given his Liverpool roots and rise through the ranks from academy product to vice-captain. However, the right-back was swayed to take on a new challenge in Spain with Real Madrid. Alexander-Arnold's Madrid career began in the Club World Cup before what has been an injury-affected 2025-26 campaign, with only 8 La Liga appearances, of which 5 have been starts to date. Yet to score in the Spanish top flight, Alexander-Arnold made his first assist in La Liga in the game in which he suffered his most recent injury in early December. Kevin Kelleher. Kelleher finally got his long-held wish of becoming a first-choice goalkeeper for a Premier League club by leaving Liverpool for Brentford after a few seasons ably deputizing for Alisson Becker. He is now just one appearance away from having played as many league games for Brentford as he ever did for Liverpool, 25, although it will take a while to catch up with his tally across all competitions due to his track record in cup games for the Reds. Kelleher has kept 6 clean sheets for Brentford so far, averaging 1 shutout every 4 matches. Furthermore, he has saved penalties by Bruno Fernandes, Jurgen Strand Larsen, and Enzo Lefebvre this season. Nat Phillips. Liverpool finally found a buyer for former stand-in centre-back Nat Phillips after a wide range of loan spells, as West Brom paid $3 million to sign him 2.5 years after his last appearance for the club. It marks his 3rd consecutive season playing in the Championship after his loans at Cardiff City and Derby County, the latter providing him with his busiest season of appearances in his career so far. Phillips has built on that with West Brom, playing 30 times so far. Voted player of the match on his debut, he has since scored 3 goals and even donned the captain's armband a couple of times around Christmas. Jarell Quansah. In a deal that will have been beneficial for the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules, Liverpool cashed in on academy graduate Quansah to the tune of $30 million as he headed abroad to join Bayer Leverkusen. 4 months later, Quansah was handed his senior international debut for England by Thomas Tuchel during a World Cup qualifier as a symbol of his progress. There was some slight chaos in between, with Leverkusen sacking Erik ten Hag very early into the season, but Quansah has been trusted by successor Kasper Hjulmand and has no regrets about his move. "I had the opportunity to prove myself here, and I'm super happy that I made the move," he told BBC Sport in December. "You can't live the game of football with regrets. Anything could have happened at Liverpool, and I had to focus on what I wanted to do and what I felt was best. The feeling I got from Leverkusen was everything I needed for my development. It's not about this year or next year, it's about where I'm going to be when I reach the top of my level. I thought the best way of doing that was by taking a step abroad." Luis Diaz. The biggest transfer fee Liverpool banked in the summer was for Diaz, whose contract they weren't willing to upgrade too much. Thus, the forward signed a lucrative deal with Bayern Munich instead, after costing the German giants an initial £60 million. It's been money well spent. Diaz has been thriving for Bayern, scoring 15 goals from 29 games so far. With 10 of those being in the Bundesliga, he is the joint 3rd highest scorer in the whole league so far. Diaz certainly hit the ground running, scoring in each of his first 3 league outings for Bayern. More recently, he contributed to half of their goals in an 8-1 win over Wolfsburg, providing 3 assists and scoring once for himself. One of Diaz's goals, against Union Berlin in November, where he slid to stop the ball from going out, cut in, and quickly finished from a tight angle, was recently named by Sportschau as the goal of the year in Germany. That same goal had already given him his 2nd Bundesliga goal of the month, the other being from August. Tyler Morton. After a largely inactive 2025-26 season following his reintegration from a loan spell at Hull City, Academy graduate Morton moved to French side Lyon in a permanent deal. He has taken well to his new challenge, telling the Daily Mail in December that he is loving playing for a massive club whose style of play is perfect for his game. Usually operating as a holding midfielder, Morton has made 27 appearances for Lyon so far, one shy of double the number he ever managed for boyhood club Liverpool, and has scored twice. Liverpool don't have a buyback clause for Morton, instead having secured a sell-on clause for when he earns his next move, which at this rate could be a big one. Darwin Núñez. Nunez was the casualty of Liverpool's investment in Isak and Hugo Ekitike as their new center forwards after 3 years of inconsistency since his big money move from Benfica. With 25 Premier League games behind him, which wasn't dreadful but also not the sort of clinical record Liverpool paid for, Nunez moved to the Saudi Pro League with Al Hilal. So far, Nunez has scored 6 goals from 16 games for Al Hilal, but hasn't been convincing enough for them to ignore the opportunity to upgrade with the signing of Karim Benzema from Al Ittihad. There have now been rumors that Nunez could be shipped off to Turkish Super League Superfe before their transfer deadline on Friday, which would complete a transfer merry-go-round after they sold Youssef En-Nesyri to Benzema's ex-club Al Ittihad. Ben Gannon Doc. After spending last season on loan with Middlesbrough, Doc was sold to Bournemouth for a sizable £20 million fee with a view to getting more game time at Premier League level. All 4 of his appearances in the league for Bournemouth so far have been from the bench, with his only start coming in the Carabao Cup, and he hasn't been able to add to them since November due to a hamstring injury. He did manage to make an assist on his 3rd appearance for the Cherries, setting up Antoine Semenyo with a well-placed pass at the end of a counterattack in a win over Fulham. But he may still be some weeks away from a return, having originally required surgery for his hamstring issue. Kostas Tsimikas. Tsimikas was never a regular starter for Liverpool, but still managed to amass more than 100 appearances as Andrew Robertson's backup, before being demoted to 3rd-choice left-back once Milos Kerkez was bought from Bournemouth. A loan move to Roma was arranged towards the end of the summer, but he hasn't been able to become a regular starter in Serie A either. That's despite Roma's other left-back, Angelino, being unavailable due to health problems for the bulk of the season so far, with natural right-back Wesley preferred to Tsimikas on the left-hand side. Tsimikas did produce an assist on his first start for Roma in the Europa League back in September against Nice, but couldn't use it as a platform to break into the team. There were suggestions of his loan being terminated in January when it looked like Robertson could leave Liverpool for Tottenham, but that move never went through either, and Tsimikas has stayed in Rome, now looking to add to his 4 Serie A starts. Harvey Elliott. Elliott made the emotional decision to leave Liverpool in search of what he expected would be a more prominent role at Aston Villa, who took him on loan with a conditional obligation to buy. But in what has become an extremely frustrating situation, Elliott's game time has been severely limited, with Villa seemingly concerned about giving him the number of appearances that would trigger a £35 million permanent deal. Because he had played for Liverpool in the league before heading to Villa, Elliott is not allowed to play for another club following the same calendar, and was uninterested in a move to MLS that represented one of his only viable escape routes. The attacking midfielder was recently brought back in from the cold by Unai Emery and is now on 7 appearances for Villa, but there have been claims they might try to renegotiate the terms of his loan to avoid being forced to buy him. For a player who only started twice in the league for Liverpool last season, the move to Villa hasn't been the breakthrough he would have hoped for when deciding he had to leave the club he supports. James McConnell. Following in the footsteps of goalkeeper Vítězslav Jaros, who only played twice for Liverpool before his move to the Netherlands to link up with John Heitinga at Ajax on a season-long loan, the midfielder only started once in the Eredivisie and Champions League before Heitinga was sacked in November. Having been injured since early December, McConnell was recalled by Liverpool earlier this week.
News headline: Real Madrid's summer move for Liverpool ace feasible after Chelsea deal too expensive. After determining moves for Vitinha and Enzo Fernandez are impossible from a financial standpoint, Real Madrid could move for a Liverpool ace next summer instead, and initial feedback from those close to the player has been positive according to a reputable outlet. As is often the case at Real Madrid, no new signings arrived in the winter window. Los Blancos have generally steered clear of making mid-season buys, believing premiums are placed on players who may then struggle to make an instant impact in new surroundings. Instead, the focus was always on the summer window, and the latest from the Athletics Real Madrid expert Mario Cortegana has shed light on their plans. He stated 2 positions will be addressed in the summer, center back and central midfield. Regarding the latter, Real Madrid adore PSG's Vitinha and Enzo Fernandez of Chelsea. However, Vitinha recently signed a new deal in Paris, and Fernandez is contracted to Chelsea until 2032. As such, the cost of convincing either of their clubs to part ways with their prized assets will be astronomical. Per the report, Real Madrid accept both of those moves are virtually impossible to make. However, an audacious move for Liverpool's Alexis Mac Allister was described as much more feasible. During Carlo Ancelotti's time at the Bernabeu, the iconic Italian manager asked for Mac Allister's signing. Real Madrid didn't launch any bids, though it's noted discreet inquiries were made and the feedback they received from those close to the Argentine was positive. And with Mac Allister's contract up in 2028, he'll have just 2 years remaining on his deal come the end of the current campaign. It's around that time that clubs usually begin to thrash out whether they plan to offer a new contract or cash in while the player's value is still sky high. Cortegana summed up the situation when writing, "Madrid are looking at the market for center backs and midfielders. In midfield, there is great admiration for Paris Saint-Germain's Vitinha and Chelsea's Enzo Fernandez, but those players are considered almost impossible to sign from a financial point of view." Portugal international Vitinha renewed his contract last year until 2029 and is a key player for the French club, with whom Madrid do not have good relations. Argentina's Enzo Fernandez might like the idea of playing for Madrid one day, but he is under contract until 2032 and Chelsea don't want to sell him. Ancelotti asked for Mac Allister at Liverpool when he was in charge. Although no deal was ever fully explored, Madrid received positive feedback from those around him. The 27-year-old is well liked at the club, and his contract at Anfield until 2028 might make a deal more feasible if Madrid were to make a move. Latest Liverpool news: Robertson contract. In other news, Liverpool are considering handing Andy Robertson a new contract to keep him at Anfield beyond the end of the season, sources have told Team Talk. But it is not over for Tottenham or Celtic to get a deal done for the Scottish left-back. Elsewhere, Jeremy Jacquet has been rinsed in the French media for the first display he produced since his summer move to Liverpool was announced. Finally, Celtic are intensifying their pursuit of a former Liverpool midfielder who can be signed via free agency right now.
News headline: Darwin Nunez has 2 days to complete transfer as opportunity arises for ex-Liverpool star. Less than 6 months after leaving Liverpool, Darwin Nunez could be on the move again. He has been linked with a mid-season transfer to Turkey and could end up playing in England over the coming weeks. Former Liverpool striker Darwin Nunez is reportedly in talks to join Fenerbahce before the Turkish transfer market closes. While Premier League clubs are unable to complete signings following the conclusion of the transfer window on Monday, teams in Turkey can still make additions up until Friday's deadline. Nunez could benefit from that, with multiple reports claiming Fenerbahce are exploring a deal for the Uruguayan forward, just months after he left Liverpool to sign for Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal. Nunez has not scored in his last 6 appearances for the club and was linked to a move to River Plate in December. Saudi Arabian outlet Al Radiya claims Al Hilal has accepted an offer for the player, just days after Karim Benzema joined the club. However, other reports claim Nunez's move will only be a 6-month loan. Transfer report Ben Jacobs claimed on X that a short-term move was discussed during an initial inquiry for the 26-year-old. It comes after reports claimed Youssef En-Nesyri was set to leave Fenerbahce earlier this week. His transfer to Al Ittihad collapsed, but N'Golo Kante has completed a move in the other direction. The pair could even be back in England soon, with the Turkish club facing Nottingham Forest in a 2-legged Europa League playoff later this month. Nunez joined Al Hilal last summer for a fee of €53 million, $63 million or £46 million last summer, and initially impressed. He provided 6 goal involvements in his first 5 appearances for the Saudi Pro League side, but that output has since dried up. The former Benfica man last scored on January 8th. In total, he has netted 7 goals in 22 appearances. His absence at Liverpool has also been felt this season, certainly out of possession, with the Reds looking more timid when pressing from the front. When you lose players like Luis Diaz and Darwin Nunez, just to use those 2 as examples, you lose a very aggressive press from the front. They press high, they press aggressively, and that helps you win the ball in midfield or even higher up the pitch. So when those players are missing, it changes how you defend and where you win the ball back.
News headline: Anthony Gordon warned about punishment after clashing with Liverpool star. The former Everton man caught Alisson high on the shin with a needlessly forceful tackle during Saturday's Premier League defeat to Liverpool, an incident which has been looked at by one former referee. Former PGMOL chief executive Keith Hackett feels Anthony Gordon could face retrospective action for his foul on Alisson last weekend. The Newcastle forward was something of a pantomime villain in Saturday's 4-1 defeat at Anfield. Inside the first 11 minutes, the boyhood Liverpool fan pushed Alexis McAllister off the ball before thundering into Alisson, catching him on the shin with an unnecessarily forceful sliding tackle. The former Everton winger was shown a yellow card by referee Simon Hooper, a decision upheld by VAR, but Hackett felt Gordon could have been dismissed for the tackle and may face further punishment. "I think Hooper, missed it completely," the former referee told Football Insider. "It's one of these where you have to make your mind up. Is it reckless, and so that's a yellow card, or is it reckless, excessive force with a degree of malice? That's the judgment they have to make. It's evident to me that VAR are sitting and saying, I'm not getting involved at all, and this exposes the referee because he may not have the best view. Sometimes it is in a flash, or you have an obstruction with a player in front of you, but this is another player that has got away without a sanction. What I think has to happen is the disciplinary panel at the FA have got to ask the match officials, did you see the incident, referee? If not, then I think the FA could re-referee that incident and issue a sanction." This is not the first time this season that Gordon's on-field actions have riled Liverpool supporters. He was also sent off the corresponding fixture at St. James Park in August. The 24-year-old trod needlessly on the back of Virgil van Dijk's calf in the first half, resulting in a straight red card. He also angered Liverpool fans on Saturday by celebrating in front of the cop when he scored the opening goal of the game. However, a Hugo Ekitike brace and goals from Florian Wirtz and Ibrahima Konate saw Liverpool overturn the early deficit. Gordon was booed throughout the game, although he nearly joined the Reds in the summer of 2024 due to Newcastle's perilous PSR situation. The England international's disciplinary record also impacted Liverpool last season when he missed the Carabao Cup final following a red card he received in an FA Cup defeat by Brighton and Hove Albion.